A young boy was hard at work practicing his sword skills against an older man. The boy leaped into the air and swung his sword down, but the man knocked him away with ease. The boy crashed to the ground, panting heavily. The man told him not to jump pointlessly, as it would leave him more open. The boy thanked him for the training, still gasping for breath and saying he could not move his body. The man told him to stop spouting nonsense and that he did well. He praised the boy, saying that the way he moved did not resemble a 7-year-old, as expected of his son. It was currently spring. Time had passed quickly, and it had been over 7 years since the boy had transmigrated. This was the western military nation of the Elfin continent, the Leomel Empire, and one of its no-name villages. The transmigration had come as quite a shock in the beginning. Back then, the boy refused to accept reality. But if one had to spend half a year in the body of a baby, they would eventually relent. His mother asked if he had been waiting for her, and whether they should eat now. Besides that, as one who had transmigrated, the boy had been keeping a secret from his parents. He could see what people called a status screen. His name was Len Ashton, the eldest son of the Ashton family. His skills included demon sword summoning at level 1 and demon sword summoning technique at level 1. He also had a skill called Demon Sword of Wood at level 1, which allowed him to use small natural magic attacks. There was also a locked skill called Demon Sword of Metal, with specific unlocking criteria. However, unlike in the game, his own level, physical strength, magic power, and attack strength could not be seen. Len thought it felt more realistic that way. He had definitely never heard of the skill Demon Sword Summoning. The game had hidden skills, and in the second playthrough, players could combine 3 existing skills to develop a new one. There were also unique skills that only certain individuals could use. Len believed Demon Sword Summoning was definitely one of those unique skills. At the moment, he could only summon the Demon Sword of Wood, and it was very small. According to the description, his proficiency in the Demon Sword summoning technique would rise as he summoned and used the Demon Sword. As his proficiency rose, its abilities would develop. The Demon Sword of Wood's ability was to wield natural magic attacks to a small extent, basically growing plants as a battle skill. He decided he must not try this in his room. By satisfying special conditions, he could increase the number of types of demon swords. The next to be unlocked would be the Demon Sword of Metal. Besides, summoning the sword expended the magic power inside of him every time. If he ran out of magic power, he would be attacked by a fierce headache. In the worst case, he could even lose consciousness. To avoid that, he needed to practice every single day and grow his magic power. Len thought that if this were the game, there would be easier ways to raise the levels. But his mother called out asking if he was up yet, and he quickly dispelled the sword. Anyway, since Len had this power, this world was without a doubt closely related to the game. That also meant he had a future that must be avoided at all cost. A dark figure appeared in his thoughts. Even if the worst case came to pass, for the sake of protecting himself, he needed to train his magic power from that very instant, while learning more about the world he now lived in. Len studied with his mother and practiced his sword skills in secret. Len was now 7. His father returned home from a hunt, carrying a large monster on his back. His father suggested that perhaps it was time for Len to start practicing swordsmanship. He told Len he could take any of the dummy swords from the storeroom. Len agreed. His father apologized, saying he had never taught anyone swordsmanship before. He explained that this was how his own dad had taught him too. He told Len to come at him with all he had. Len understood and secretly used the demon sword of the wood element. He charged at his father, who praised his move. His father told him to continue until he could no longer move his body. Len noted that his current body possessed a surprising amount of physical strength, but it was still the body of a 7-year-old. He could not even last for 30 minutes during his first practice session. His father told him he did well for a first-timer and to return home first. Len, panting on the ground, thanked him and said he would return once he had gathered enough energy. His father said he would come pick him up later. Len checked his status screen and was excited to see that his proficiency had risen to 2 out of 100 because he had used the Demon Sword of Wood. Ever since that day, Len's daily routine involved a study session in the morning, followed by swordsmanship practice with his father in the afternoon. A demon stone was an item obtained from a monster's body. Although Len could raise his proficiency in demon sword through practice, there was no reaction from the demon stone he had previously received from his father. A message appeared saying the demon stone could not be used. It seemed like it would not work unless it was one he had hunted by himself. Len realized that unlike the game The Legend of the Seven Heroes, this world was not letting him have it easy. He would have to take this seriously. Another month passed. Len continued training. His father noted that compared to the past, the way Len moved had improved. but he still lost his balance too easily. His father told him to concentrate more of his strength at his waist. Len's father asked if he was okay and told him not to push himself too much, or he would just end up hurting himself. He told Len he had done great, pushing himself to the limit every day. Len thanked him. Len's demon sword summoning technique proficiency had reached 88 out of 100. Even after pushing himself past his limits daily, it only rose by 2 points a day. He thought it took so long, but looking at it from the perspective of leveling up, it did not feel as bad. Perhaps it was because he was a gamer. Lately, things were becoming a little more interesting. Len's mother noticed he had gotten another blister and said he had such beautiful hands. She wondered if perhaps the training was a bit too harsh. Len said it was fine, and that he liked learning more about swordsmanship. His mother commented that his father was a sports maniac after all. She told Len that the Ashton family was a family of knights who protected the village, and that his love for swords was a wonderful thing. Len asked if his mother hated swords. She said it was more of a fear rather than hate. She explained that Len's father was a courageous warrior who feared not even monsters, and that even as a child, swords were all he thought about. He had also saved her numerous times, but she feared that his bravery might one day become a curse and be the very reason he was badly hurt. She said she had the utmost respect for him, as the monsters he hunted brought them income, and the flesh could be shared with the other villagers. Len's father overheard and told his wife Milieu not to worry. He said he was strong and that he would not fall to the monsters around there. He was also making sure to be less careless than he had been in the past. He told her that his family's happiness mattered more to him than anything else. That night, Len lay in bed thinking about the word family. In his previous life, his parents had divorced early, and he had followed his mother. As the years went by, the number of conversations they had dwindled. By the time he was an adult, his mother no longer returned home. He was thankful that she had let him go to university. Perhaps back then, there were some things going on that he did not understand. Len continued his daily training with his father. His father told him they would continue tomorrow after another exhausting session. Len collapsed to the ground. Compared to the past, he now felt more fulfilled every day. He spent his evenings eating dinner with his parents and reading books with a cat on his lap. One night, Len tried to push through his exhaustion during training, insisting he could still continue. His father told him to stop, and Len crashed to the ground. His father looked at him with surprise. The next day during training, Len noticed something felt different. His body felt lighter. He told his father it was nothing when asked if he was hurt, and they resumed sparring. Len charged at his father with incredible speed and power. His father was shocked, exclaiming that the boy was so fast and wondering what just happened. Len noticed that his speed and the strength in his arms were increasing. His father thought the kid had suddenly gotten much stronger. Len kept pressing the attack, and his father realized what was happening. He could see it now. Len kept attacking, and his father, overwhelmed, caught him and lifted him up, praising him. He exclaimed that Len was a skill bearer and that he never would have thought his son would have a skill. Len was confused. His father rushed to tell Milieu, who asked what was wrong. His father declared that Len should not be tied down to their small village and should go to the capital to make a name for himself as a knight. He said Len was awesome and wondered what skill it was. He mentioned they could go to the town's church right now to check his skill, but they did not have enough money. Len quickly said he did not think there was any need to have it checked, adding that not knowing the skill's name would not kill him. His parents were surprised at how apathetic he was being. Len said that even he had never heard of a rare skill named demon sword summoning, and that having it checked might end up being too much of a hassle. He explained that they had their rules and others had theirs. Len told his father that if it was possible, he wished to live peacefully and quietly in the village. Rather than becoming a famous knight, he wished to become his father's successor in the village. If they hunted monsters together, they could raise their income, and the village could prosper. If the worst was to happen, he could protect his father. Milieu stared at Len. Len said that all he wanted was for the three of them to live a long life together. His father called him a brat, but was clearly moved. Len thought to himself that for him, this was like his second playthrough. This time, he would cherish the time he had with his family. In order to prevent the future of despair, he would live a life different from the one led by Len in the game. However, these dreams would end in vain in just a few years. In the future, Len would meet the girl he was not supposed to meet, and the one that he was supposed to kill, going against the changing future and the unreasonable destiny. But Len right now had yet to know of such a future. In the northern city of Clausel, within the Liomel Empire territory, a young girl sat on a bench surrounded by roses. An armored knight asked if anything was wrong. She said she was just bored now that her training was over. The knight told her that his men were no longer qualified to be her sword practice partner. She asked about the armor he was wearing. He explained that he had been ordered by the master to patrol the northwest part of the territory, and that he had been ordered to slay a beast. A troublesome one had appeared. It had been 3 years since Len first leveled up. His demon sword summoning technique had reached level 2, and he could now see the effect for level 3, which was the ability to summon 2 demon swords. His demon sword summoning proficiency was at 659 out of 1500. Len thought 3 years for 659 seemed so far, and since the required proficiency had increased a lot, his growth felt stagnant. He had not managed to train every single day, as there were days he could not hold a sword due to helping with the field and preparing for winter. Training for a short period only increased proficiency by 1. Still, Len thought that was more than enough battle power to live peacefully in the village. Len greeted Grandma Rig, who mentioned his father was boasting about him, saying the young master would become a great knight at the capital one day. Len said he had no intention of leaving the village. A group of armored knights on horseback appeared in the distance. Grandma Rig cried out that those were the Baron's people. Len recognized them as servants of the Baron, the noble who ruled over the territory. He recalled that every knight must have a higher-up noble under the feudalism system, and that his father was one of the knights the Baron had ordered to protect the village. This was his first time seeing armored knights. Len's father spoke with the lead knight, who confirmed that a few villages had already been attacked. According to witnesses, it was a critter-type beast that moved as fast as the wind. There had been some casualties, too. They had been patrolling the area for the sake of subjugating the beast, but had yet to find any clue. They wanted Len's father to participate in the vigilance team. Len asked about the beast's rank. A global neutral organization called the Guild had set up a beast rank based on threat level, with the highest being S and the lowest being G. The lead knight said it could be thought of as at least a D rank. Len knew that a D rank beast was on the same rank as the early stage boss in the game. Even with the strength of 5 average knights, it still could not be defeated. Len's father wondered why such a beast had appeared in this area, since the beasts that usually showed up were at most F-rank ones. The lead knight explained that they were currently looking into it, and that they had been planning to recruit knights from nearby villages to increase security. However, due to the wide dispatch range, the reinforcements would need 20 days to arrive. Len's father was shocked by the 20-day wait. The lead knight apologized and asked them to just hold on until then. Len's father said he understood, and that they would put more attention on patrolling the forest. Len wondered what the beast's name was and thought he should know something by using his game knowledge. The lead knight offered to rest in the village. Len's father accepted. The lead knight noticed Len and asked if he was Sir Roy's son. Len's father confirmed, and told Len to greet the captain of the knights. Len was surprised, as that meant the man was the highest-ranked knight in the territory. The captain noted that Len was 10 years old and the same age as the lady. He said Len was also a skill bearer, and that he would have tested his swordsmanship on a different occasion. He hoped Len would stay safe until the matter ended. Len's father said they would get busier starting that day. Len asked to see the beast's wanted notice, but his father told him not to worry. His father mentioned he had once hunted down a D-rank beast all by himself before Len was born. Len was shocked and thought that explained why he had never won against his father, even though his father had no skill. They had a big hunt that day. His father explained that the little boars in the area had delicious meat, and beasts came just to eat them. Len understood his father planned to reduce the little boars' numbers so the dangerous beast would not be drawn to their village. His father confirmed and said they just needed to search around the animal trail. It was not like the beast would definitely appear in the nearby forest. After the warning, Len's father changed his routine. He now entered the forest in the afternoon and hunted until sunset. Len asked in the bath if his father was overworking himself, and said it was almost time he was allowed to help with the hunting. His father said he would let him after the beast matter calmed down. He apologized for not being able to accompany Len in sword training, as both he and Milieu were busy taking care of the hunted boars, and it would be a waste to let the meat go bad. Len thought he did not want to lose the peaceful life that had lasted for more than 10 years. His father started dozing off, and Len told him not to fall asleep in the bath. The days passed, and on the night of the 10th day, Len noticed his father had not returned yet. He told his mother that it was getting late already. She agreed and said she would go check on him. Len said he was going too. She told him he could not because it was already dark outside and too dangerous. Len declared he would still go even if she stopped him. His mother admitted that she sometimes got afraid, thinking about the day his father would get badly hurt. Len and his mother headed out into the night carrying torches. Len noted it was so dark he could barely see anything, and this was his first time going outside at night. He told his mother to be careful of her stepping. She warned him about the river that separated the forest and said they could only go up to the bridge, as beyond it was beast territory. Len's eyes adjusted to the dark, and his mother pointed out the torches on the bridge marking the forest entrance. They spotted Len's father sitting against a tree on the far side. Milieu cried out to him. Len confirmed it was his father and was glad he seemed okay, but wondered why he was in that kind of place. Milieu told Len to stay and ran across the bridge. Len followed, calling for her to wait. They reached his father and asked if he was okay. He was covered in blood and breathing heavily. Len cried out for his father. A family was in a desperate situation. A woman called out to a man, telling him to get a hold of himself, while a child cried out for his father. A boy reacted with shock as something approached. A massive boar monster charged at them, and the boy cried out in alarm. He tried to fight it off with a weapon, but the boar was too strong. The woman screamed for Len as the boar pinned him down. Len told his mother to run. She shouted at the beast to let go of her son, striking it. 2 more boars appeared behind them, and Len cursed at the sight, realizing there were 2 more of them. The boy noticed that the effect of his skill, physical ability up, small, was allowing him to push the boar away. He shoved the beast off of him and told it to get off. The remaining boars charged at the woman, who screamed. Len was struck hard and grunted in pain. He swung his weapon and slashed one of the boars, shocked that it only took 1 hit to bring it down. He attacked the remaining boars, slicing another one. He noticed the boars fighting each other after being struck. Breathing heavily, Len realized he could fight them. He thought to himself that he had become this strong from all the training and skills he had built up. Back at a house in the village, an elderly woman named Granny Rig was tending to the injured father. She told Len and his mother that the father was in an unpredictable condition, but that it had at least calmed down, and they could be at ease for now. Len's mother said thank goodness and thanked Granny Rig. She then turned to Len and thanked him as well, telling him that she would not have been able to bring back his father without his help. Len thought about the situation and believed that there was no way his father would get beaten like that by those weak monsters. He thought that his father must have happened to meet a certain wanted monster. Len asked if the monster was still inside the forest. He noted that reinforcements would take 10 more days to arrive. Len worried about what would happen if that monster ended up coming into the village, and whether his mother and the other villagers would get attacked as well. He thought that there must be something he could do for now. Len headed to the forest, where he found the dead body of a little boar from the day before. He was relieved that it had not yet been eaten by other monsters, and said he should hurry and bring it home. He noticed something strange happening with his bracelet. A wisp of energy from the dead boar got absorbed into his bracelet. Len was confused and wondered if it had been absorbed into the bracelet. He thought that the bracelet would not absorb anything back when he was a kid. Len checked his status and saw that his demon sword summoning technique was at level 2 with 671 out of 1500 proficiency, and his demon sword's acquired skill was at level 1 with 2 out of 100 proficiency and the ability to use natural magic attacks to a small extent. He was excited to see that both his demon sword summoning technique and demon sword of wood proficiencies had increased by 2. He figured that this must have been from absorbing the magic power of the demon stone inside the monster's body. He also noted that the bracelet would not absorb it unless he hunted the monster himself, which explained why it did not work when he was a kid. Len went to speak with his mother. He told her that from tomorrow onward, he was thinking of taking over his father's duty. He explained that just like his father, his duty was to protect the village, since he was born as part of the Ashton family. His mother was shocked and protested that no matter how strong he had gotten, he was still a child. Len acknowledged that he knew it was dangerous and that he was asking for something difficult. He pointed out that now that his father was injured, he was the only one left in the village who could fight against monsters. He asked her to please allow him to protect everyone until the reinforcements came. His mother stayed up that entire night watching over the injured father. The next morning, his mother allowed Len to enter the forest on the condition that he returned before dusk. She warned him not to enter the depths of the forest and told him he could use the Tsurugi rock as a landmark. She explained that if he walked ahead in the forest for 1.5 hours, he would see a huge, sharp rock shaped like a sword, which was how it got its name. Len headed into the forest and recalled that he had yet to try the demon sword of wood's attribute, natural magic, small. He also remembered that inside the game, there was a strong boss near the Tsurugi rock who could use natural magic. A small boar charged at Len, startling him. He noted it was another little boar. He wondered how to use magic and decided to try calling out the spell names, saying come, tree sprout, and come. ivy. Vines and ivy burst from the ground and wrapped around the boar, trapping it completely. Len was amazed and shouted that it was awesome. He noted that although natural magic required magic consumption, it was really easy to use. He said he should end the fight with one strike, but then he hesitated, saying he could not bring himself to hurt the trapped boar more than that. Len decided to use the incoming little boars as practice opponents instead of killing the trapped ones. He managed to hunt down 12 boars on his first day, wrapping them up in ivy nets and carrying the massive bundle back to the village. The villagers were stunned at the sight. On the second day, he hunted down another 12 little boars. On the third day, he managed to increase the number even further, dragging back an even larger bundle of captured boars. A chief wolven stood howling on top of a rock. It was a beast whose power stood at the top of the D rank, a rare breed called a unique monster. One could obtain a rare item just by defeating it. Len was breathing heavily in the forest as the beast appeared before him. He struck at it with his sword, but the chief wolven was massive and knocked him back. Len grunted and noted that the situation was bad since, in terms of speed, the beast had the upper hand. The chief wolven circled around him, and Len realized that its trait made it no ordinary beast. It had the ability to use wind magic. The beast unleashed a wind attack that blasted Len away. Len recalled that by using the wind it collected with its body, the chief wolven could create invisible hands, a habit that could steal items. It also used the wind magic to attack. Len thought that the beast was not an enemy he should face, but there was no way it was going to let him run away. He thought that he must find a way to win with his current strength. He noted that the attack power of his nature magic was still low, and there was no other choice but to look for a way to get near its stomach. He noticed something and paused. He saw a wound on the chief wolven's leg. He wondered if his father had done that. He pictured his father fighting the beast with his sword, and realized that was how his father had managed to get away. The reason the beast had not yet attacked the village was likely because of that wound. Len thought that his father had fulfilled his role as a knight, and that he too must not give up here. The chief wolven charged at Len, and he dodged. The wind magic came at him, and Len told himself to stay calm and search for a way to use nature magic. He cast his ivy spell, and the vines wrapped around the beast. The chief wolven struggled and roared as Len tried to hold it down. He said he must stop its movement even if just for a moment. The beast thrashed and broke through the ivy, roaring. Len leaped at the beast and drove his sword into it, but the magic sword of wood shattered on impact. Len was shocked that it broke and tried to resummon it. The resummoning drained too much mana, and Len cried out in pain. The beast counterattacked and knocked Len flying. Len landed hard, gripping his now broken sword. The chief wolven's tail swiped at him and sent him crashing again. Len coughed and slumped against a tree, breathing heavily. The beast growled at him. Len looked at the beast, gnawing at the tree roots where the ivy had entangled it. Len thought that he might lose consciousness at that rate. He noticed a herb and thought that if he used it, he might recover. But then he looked at his injured father in his mind and told himself no. He must not use the herb. There might not be enough left for his father. He told himself to think. He had almost forgotten his purpose for coming here. A weapon left for him to use was his bracelet. Len activated the bracelet and faced the beast. The chief wolven charged through tree roots and roared. Len was knocked down again. Len realized that if he absorbed the power of the magic stones from the little boar corpses nearby, he would need just 3 more to unlock the magic sword of metal. He checked his status and saw his demon sword's acquired skill at 97 out of 100. The magic sword of metal would be unlocked at that point. He decided that if the magic sword of wood could not defeat the beast, then he could only bet on unlocking the new sword. He rushed toward the corpses of the little boars he had hunted earlier and absorbed their magic stones. The chief wolven chased after him, growling. Len told it to just stay put for a moment. He ran out of mana and noted that he had to hurry to the corpses of the little boars. The beast was closing in on him. Len thought of his father and told himself he must find a way to save him. He declared that there was no way he was losing here. The demon sword of metal was unlocked at level 1, with the description that the blade's sharpness would increase alongside the level. Len summoned the new sword and declared it was his very last power. The chief wolven lunged at him with its jaws wide open. Len thrust the demon sword of metal straight into the beast's mouth with a wholehearted single attack. Len used a wholehearted single attack to strike the chief wolven, driving his sword into its head. The beast collapsed. Len was panting heavily and realized the sword was absorbing the magic stone of the chief wolven. He recognized the weapon as the magic sword of metal. His body would not move at all, and the situation was bad. He called out for his mother and father. The cry of a beast came from nearby. A group of knights on horseback arrived, with someone shouting to the captain that it was over there. The knights from Clausel found Len collapsed beside the fallen Chief Wolven. They announced they were knights from Clausel and needed to hurry and bring the child to his room. A woman was shocked and called out Len's name. A knight carried Len in his arms. He said they had only just arrived, but Len seemed to be desperately holding on to his bag. The woman noticed something inside and recognized it as Rondo grass. The news reached a large city. An older man was shocked, asking if they meant to say that Len Ashton had defeated the Chief Wolven on his own. A girl remarked that a boy capable of single-handedly defeating a D-rank beast was in that territory. 2 months passed. Len checked his status screen. His magic sword summoning technique was at level 2 with 869 out of 1500 proficiency. At level 2, he received a small physical ability boost when summoning the bracelet. His magic sword of wood was at level 2, and his magic sword of metal was at level 1. He had also acquired a new skill called Magic Sword of Bandit at level 1, which gave a chance of forcefully robbing random items from an attack target. Len was surprised that by defeating the Chief Wolven, he had obtained a new kind of magic sword. He held up the Magic Sword of Bandit and noted it was more like finger armor than a sword. Len was out climbing a cliff and picking plants. A female knight called out to him, saying he was still not in his best condition and asking if they had not told him to call upon them when entering the forest. Len apologized. The knight said he had really surprised them with his physical strength. Len thanked her, saying he had managed to stay alive thanks to them coming faster than expected. The knight asked about his bag, wondering if it was the treasures hidden by the Chief Wolven. Len said yes, and that he wanted to sell them and use the money to help the village. She asked if the taxes would really be okay. Len explained that the reward for that year was tax exemption. The Chief Wolven's raw materials that Len wanted to sell were extremely valuable medicinal material, and the Lord was buying them at a slightly higher price than the market. She said the village should be able to prosper over the next few decades. Len was excited, saying that was awesome. A young man praised Len, saying he had heard about the treasures and that Len had achieved so much. Len said it was not his alone, and that it was thanks to his father that he could even win against the beast. The man laughed and said Len was still as selfless as ever, then asked if there was something Len wanted. Len asked for a beautiful stone he was holding, explaining it was called the Celestia Pearl and was extraordinarily rare even among the Chief Wolven's drops. Len also asked if he could receive a bracelet. The man agreed. Len thought that now he could openly wear the bracelet. The man told Len he had done something reckless and that Len made him worried as a parent, but added that Len had done well putting his life at stake to protect everyone. A woman told Len he was awesome. After that, peace had come to the nameless village after such a long period. The villagers were going about their daily lives happily. Len was carrying supplies when he spotted a girl sitting on a stone wall under a tree with a horse nearby. He noticed she was not a kid from the village and wondered who she was. The girl turned to him and asked if he was Len Ashton. Len confirmed that he was, but felt like he had seen her before. He thought this was the fateful encounter and also the beginning of a new story. The girl asked if Len was Len Ashton, calling it a fated encounter. Len confirmed he was Len, and she said she had always wanted to meet him. The girl then asked how his injuries were. She drew 2 swords and tossed one to Len, who caught it but was confused. Before he could ask how she knew him, she told him to begin and immediately attacked. The girl swung hard and sent Len flying back. Len barely blocked her strikes with his sword and was shocked by her strength. She said it was incredible that he handled his sword well, despite having fallen behind. Len asked why they were suddenly doing this and told her to watch it. He thought the girl was pretty skilled. She told him not to worry and that the blade had been dulled. Len wondered if she had been planning for this match. Len thought the situation was troublesome and decided to force an end to it before either of them got injured. He tripped the girl and she fell. Len pinned her down with his sword pointed at her and declared that he won. The girl was stunned. She then immediately pushed Len off, yelling that he was too close. Len apologized. The girl demanded one more time and told him to ready his sword. Len asked if they were really going again, wondering what the hell was going on. She said of course, as she had not admitted defeat yet. A group of knights on horseback arrived, led by an older armored man. The man called out to the girl, addressing her as Visama, and demanded to know why she was there. He asked why she had proceeded alone without any accompaniment. The girl told them they were taking too long of a break. She offered to explain. The girl said that as the representative for her father, she had come with a letter for the Ashton family. Her father spoke highly of the Ashton family for their triumph over the Chief Wolven, and also expressed great expectations for Len Ashton's future. She introduced herself as Lycia Clausel, the Saintess of White. Len recognized the name and was shocked. He recalled a memory of the same girl in a different setting, standing in an elegant room. Len recognized Lycia Clausel as the Saintess of White. In the game called Legend of the Seven Heroes, she was a highly popular character due to her exceptional appearance and personality. Within the event battles, her strength was considerable, and she could not be matched by the protagonist unless they raised their level. She did not join the protagonist party, could not be romanced, and was referred to as the unconquerable heroine. Lycia explained over tea that she had personally come to see for herself the abilities of the person who defeated the Chief Wolven. Their sparring match earlier had convinced her. She said Len was not only strong but also courageous, and that his decision to pick up his sword without hesitation, despite being suddenly matched against her, was proof of that. She asked if Len had plans to come visit them at Clausel, and that they could also spar whenever they wanted. Len thought to himself that he was beat. He had heard from the station knight that the village was located in the Clausel frontier, but it would take more than 10 days on horseback to reach the city. He had thought that as long as he stayed holed up in the remote village, he would never encounter her, the feudal lord's daughter. Yet she had come all this way on her own accord just to meet and spar with him. Len told Lycia he was afraid she overestimated him. He explained that his father had already injured the Chief Wolven, so it was not solely his own ability that led to their victory. He also admitted that during their sparring session, he did not even know the proper technique, so he did not think he possessed the courage she spoke of. Lycia told him there was no need to be so humble. She said that if it were anyone else, they would boast about defeating such a monster, and that Len was different from the noblemen who were all talk. She insisted that she wanted him to come to Clausel with her no matter what, so they could spar whenever they wanted. Len noted that she seemed to enjoy sword fighting a lot, and from their spar earlier, he could tell she was quite the hard worker, but he wanted to keep as much distance as possible. He told her he was sorry to disappoint her, but he had no intention of leaving the village. Lycia noticed it felt like Len had been trying to distance himself from her the whole time, and asked if he perhaps did not like her. Len quickly denied it, saying that was not it. He explained that if he left, he would have to leave his father, the only person capable of defending the village, alone to deal with everything. If another demon like the Chief Wolven were to appear, the village would really be destroyed. He added that he liked the village life, and had never thought of wanting to live in the city. Lycia quietly said she understood. She then thought to herself that she would not give up and told Len to just wait. Lycia and Len's families had dinner together. That night, Len went outside after the meal and sighed. He planted his sword in the ground and went to check on the horses in the stable. Lycia appeared behind him holding a sword. Len asked if this was supposed to be a post-meal workout. Lycia called him brilliant for being able to tell, and said that made things easier for her. She told him she had gotten permission from Weiss and his parents, so he did not need to worry. Len was shocked that she had even managed to persuade Weiss. He thought about just not picking up his sword, but Lycia warned him that if he did not pick it up, she would extend her stay in the village. Len was shocked. Lycia asked why he went so far as to reject her, and said he must have his reasons. Len laughed nervously, and said he just so happened to be in the mood to work out himself. Lycia told Len that he was going to have to tell her something if she beat him. That, and he would be coming to Clausel with her, so he should brace himself. Len asked what would happen if he won. Lycia said that in that case she would come again to the village. Len realized it was a lose-lose situation for him either way. Lycia declared she was coming and charged at him. They clashed swords fiercely. Lycia attacked rapidly, and Len blocked her strikes while being pushed back. Lycia was surprised he managed to block and told him he had his guard down. Len asked why she was so fixated on beating him in the first place. Lycia shouted that it was obvious and that she hated losing. Even as the Saintess of White, she did not want to lose to a guy her own age. Len said he did not see how being the Saintess of White was related to this. Lycia explained that her skill, the Saintess of White, was blessed with proficiency in swordsmanship and physical abilities. She added that she could also cast sacred magic, so for her to lose was terribly frustrating. She declared that from that point on she was getting serious and that she was definitely going to beat him. Len noticed she had gotten way faster and stronger, as if she were a different person. He recognized it as her sacred magic. He recalled that sacred magic combined the strength of white magic, which had the power to heal wounds, with the strength of holy magic, which had the ability to counteract the undead, cure curses, and detoxify. It was a powerful magic that could even buff party members. In short, sacred magic swordsmanship, and enhanced physical abilities were the Saintess of White's skill combined into one. Lisha attacked with even more power. Len thought she was pretty strong when she got like that. He asked if she could not have used that earlier. Licia said Weiss would scold her if she used it without permission. Len asked if that meant she had gotten permission this time. He noted that Weiss spoiled her too much. Len decided it was about time he got serious too. They clashed again intensely. Len noted he had gotten used to her movements. He admitted she was strong, but compared to the time he fought the Chief Wolven, she was not as dangerous. Len grabbed Lycia's wrist, stopping her sword. She was stunned. Len disarmed her and they both fell to the ground. Len ended up on top of Lycia and declared it was his win. Lycia could not believe it. She immediately got back up and said she had not lost yet. Len was shocked she was still going. Weiss stepped in and caught Lycia's sword with his bare hand, stopping the fight. He told Len well done, saying the boy possessed incredible skill at such a young age to beat the young lady and her sacred magic. It was no wonder he was able to defeat the Chief Wolven single-handedly. Weiss added that in addition to Lord Roy's training, Len must have put in a great deal of effort to become that strong. He then told Lycia that she had now thoroughly understood the young man's strength to her very core, and that he hoped upon returning to the residence she would feel even more motivated by the experience. Lycia quietly said yes, and that she knew that. Lycia apologized to Len for suddenly barging in on him, and said it was a great experience. Len stammered and said likewise, and that it was a great experience for him too. Lycia said she would go ahead and get some rest. Weiss apologized to Len for Lycia's behavior, saying he hoped Len would forgive her. He promised to convey to the Baron that they had received kind hospitality from the Ashton family. Len said it was nothing, and that he did not do much. Weiss insisted that yes, he did. He explained that recently, his subordinates, let alone those the same age as Lycia, could not seem to compete with her, and she had grown complacent. This should have been a good eye-opener for her. Weiss said he would have liked to stay a few more days and let the two keep sparring, but they had to set out the next morning. Len asked him to please refrain from doing that. Weiss explained that the young lady herself had negotiated with her father and came to the village to undertake several tasks. She was visiting the surrounding villages on the Baron's behalf, and was tasked with calming the unrest caused by the recent turmoil. Len thought it was amazing that she could act as the feudal lord's substitute at that age. She excelled in both military and literary arts, and had boasted top grades within the academy and the Legend of the Seven Heroes. Len thought that, as he expected, she was not just some pompous girl. She was a little overbearing and hard to understand, but perhaps deep down, she was a good person. Len wondered why things had ended up that way. He recalled that the character's childhood was not talked about that often in the game. He had not been expecting to meet her at such an early stage. The next morning, Lycia was in bed and said she could not sleep at all. She told herself she could not just give up. She got up and started writing a letter. Weiss walked in and noticed she was writing a letter to the boy. Lycia confirmed it and said she was also writing a letter of gratitude to the Ashton family. She planned to give it before they departed. She thought that her feelings of inviting Len to Clausel would be better conveyed on paper. Weiss read the letter and said he was not sure how to say it, but the letter looked like a love letter. Lycia was confused and asked if it was a love letter. Weiss read a line from it that said the passion she felt for Len now surpassed what she felt before they met. Lycia insisted she meant every word, and that all she was saying was that the rumored exceptional boy was even more outstanding when they met in person. Weiss said he understood, but feared the letter came across as a maiden desperately in love. There were other lines too. He read another part that said to speak to her and tell her not to give up on him, and praised his valor, bravery, and gallantry. Lycia said it was the truth, and that if someone displayed such amazing swordsmanship, anyone would want to spar with him again and again. Weiss told her that it still sounded like a provincial girl who had just witnessed a hero. Lycia reread the letter and admitted he was right, that it was like a love letter. She wondered why, since she was used to writing administrative letters. She asked if it was because this was her first personal letter. She decided the letter would be disposed of when they left the village. Lycia and her group departed the village, with Len waving them off. Having concluded their first meeting with a flashy battle, Lycia meekly left. However, a sudden gust of wind blew the letter she had intended to throw away out of its container on her horse. She had yet to realize this. Len was walking alone and noticed his demon sword of banditry skill. He recalled he had not tested it yet and decided to practice. He used the demon sword of banditry on a bird and managed to steal a feather from it. He noted that the skill let him steal a random item from the target. The bird flew away angrily. Len then noticed something caught in a tree. It was a letter. He picked it up and read it, wondering what it was. He asked himself if it was a love letter. Len found a letter carried by the wind. He wondered if it was a love letter, noticing it was written on high-quality parchment that mentioned swordsmanship and an invitation to Clausel. He wondered if she had written it for him, but was confused about why it was there. Len destroyed the letter with his magic. He then noticed a group of knights arriving through the forest. They were not from Weiss Sama's group, and their crest was different from Clausel's. One of the knights asked Len if he was a subject of the village ruled by the Ashton family. Len confirmed he was. The knight explained that they had received a message approved by Viscount Givens and ordered Len to lead them to the Ashton family's estate. Len was shocked to hear the name Viscount Givens. He recalled that the Givens domain was just northeast of them and that they were nobles with no relation to the Ashton family. But their rank was higher than the barons, so he could not ignore them. He agreed to lead them, noting it was right after Licia had left. At the Ashton estate, a heavy-set knight told Len that the Viscount had a message for him as well. He said he had not expected him to be the Len Ashton, that the Viscount held his abilities in high regard, and that he would like to employ Len under his residence. Len was surprised. One of the Ashton family's retainers stepped in and told the knight that their lord was the first to invite Sir Len. The Viscount's knight stated that a simple invitation did not mean Len had given his response. The retainer countered that the village was under the Clausel family's dominion and that calling for Sir Len required speaking to them first, regardless of any difference in court rank or faction. The knight conceded and said they would mend their ways, but warned that they would come again. The knights departed. Inside, Len read the letter the knights had brought. It discussed incorporating the village into Viscount Givens' domain. Len realized that the waves of factional dispute had reached this far. He explained that the Leomel Empire was divided into 3 factions. The first was the Imperial faction, which revered the founder of the nation, the Lion King, and believed only the Imperial family could lead the country. The second was the Hero faction, led by the 7 major noble houses that had produced heroes who once defeated the Demon King. This faction believed the Imperial faction's authority should be curbed to make the Empire more free and democratic. Viscount Givens belonged to the Hero faction. The third was the Neutral faction, made up of pacifists who respected both major factions. Baron Clausel belonged to the Neutral faction. Len asked if incorporating an area into another noble's domain was something that could be accomplished so easily. The retainer explained that it was a rare occurrence in the border villages, but if everyone involved agreed, it was possible. Len wondered what the point of taking over a village as small as theirs was. He was not certain, but suspected some underlying strategy was at play. He noted that many were hoping to bring the Clausel family into their fold, that the Baron was an excellent noble, and that the presence of the Saintess of White was also significant. Since the Ashton family served the Clausel family, they were not completely unrelated either. Len said he really did not want to get involved in this power struggle full of conspiracies, but he added that there was also the possibility that they had already been dragged into something unimaginable. He stated that he did not know what Viscount Givens' intentions were, but it would not hurt to be cautious. The retainer read the letter and noted that it said they wanted to incorporate the village and station knights to compensate for a lack of military strength. Len asked if the mention of a lack of military strength was referring to the Chief Wolven incident. The retainer confirmed it was most likely, but pointed out that the incident was so unusual it could be called an abnormality, and that aside from that incident, there was no record of the Ashton family being short on military power. Len recalled hearing from Weiss Sama that if there was damage caused by monsters within a territory, the feudal lord could be punished for dispatching inadequate forces. He reasoned that if this area suffered significant damage, the Clausel family could be punished, and that maybe this was what Viscount Givens was aiming for. The Viscount could frame Baron Clausel, then pretend to protect him and lure him into the Hero faction. In a worst-case scenario, the Chief Wolven incident itself may have been related to Viscount Givens. The retainer thought that was going too far. Len admitted he had no evidence and may be looking into things too much, but said if it were true, it could lead to a huge scandal. The retainer told Len that she was shocked he had arrived at that conclusion so fast and called him an intellectual. She added that the Baron had also been concerned about that possibility. Len said that everything was simply his guess, and that at present there was little they could do, so they had to remain vigilant to prevent any unforeseen events. The retainer agreed and said they would report the matter to the Baron immediately and urge him to strengthen vigilance. Len told her to please do so. Len's father said he could not keep lying in bed forever and told his wife not to force himself. She told him not to push himself, dear. Len thought to himself that his position may have changed, but to think there was a chance he would have to confront the hero faction, who were his allies in the legends of the 7 heroes. He had no idea what might happen. Time passed, and the seasons changed from autumn to winter. After a successful hunt, the retainer praised Len's talent and said that thanks to his help, the village was able to fully prepare for winter. She told him that if he went to the imperial capital, he would undoubtedly achieve great success. Len told her he would not leave the village since he was the heir of the Ashton family. His companion told the retainer that was enough, and that she was troubling Sir Len. Len headed home and called out that he was back. A girl reading a book welcomed him. Len stared at her in shock. He asked why she was there. The girl asked what he meant by why, as there could only be one reason she was here. She told him that if he was not coming to Clausel, it was obvious that she would come to him instead. Len was stunned by her persistence. Lycia presented Len with a magical tool as a thank you for their recent sparring match. It was a crystal orb that could create water, so he would not have to go to the river or well anymore. Len was amazed and asked if magical tools powered by magic stones were not expensive. Lycia told him not to worry, explaining it was an old one she had repaired with her pocket money.
She added that it was also her apology for the incident with Viscount Givens, as her father had wanted to protest, but it was difficult when dealing with higher-ranking nobles. Lycia admitted that even as the Saintess of White, she did not have enough influence to surpass ranks and factions.
She explained that the Saintess, blessed by the chief deity Elfin, had been born many times throughout history, but unlike the 7 heroes, they had not defeated a demon lord, nor achieved anything significant. Len thought that although Saintesses were respected, they were not on the same level as the 7 heroes or the Lion King. Lycia asked Len to guide her to his father's room. Lycia used sacred magic to treat Len's father. He thanked her as always. Len was surprised and asked if she had also treated his father when she came before. Lycia confirmed that she had. Len apologized, saying he did not know about it. Len and Lycia sparred with swords. Len noted that her movements were sharper than before. During the fight, Lycia slipped on the snow and Len caught her, telling her to be careful. She complained that he had been moving around without even catching his breath and asked how much stamina he had. Lycia told Len that she enjoyed her time most when she was sparring with him. They agreed to spar again the next morning. Lycia stayed for a few days with several more sparring sessions before saying goodbye and departing with her escorts. Len thought to himself that she really intended to come back, but it was probably not a good idea to get too close. Winter ended, and during his 11th spring since coming to this world, the next event unfolded. Len's father had fully recovered, and Len remarked that his health seemed to have completely restored. His father agreed, saying it was thanks to everyone's care. They were then informed that Viscount Givens' knights had arrived again. Len asked what brought them this time. The knight said he had been waiting for Sir Ashton, and that this was of course an invitation to join them. He added that the Viscount still highly regarded Len's abilities. The knight also mentioned that he had brought good news for Len's father's son. Len had a bad feeling about it. The knight announced that the Viscount offered to support Len Ashton's admission into the special class at the prestigious Imperial Cadet Academy. Len's father was shocked. He said that general admission alone was already difficult, and asked if the knight was saying Len would be in the special class. The knight confirmed it, explaining that the special class at the Imperial Cadet Academy was exceptional. It only accepted the heirs of the 7 great nobles and heroes, the general's lineage, and a few talents who had been raised in the imperial capital since childhood. But the Viscount had served as the Assistant Minister of Justice, so sending a recommendation letter to the academy was an easy feat for him. The knight asked if Len did not want to develop his talent in the capital. Len refused, saying no thank you, and stated that he had no intention of leaving the village. The knight was stunned and asked why, telling Len he could take on the title of a noble as soon as he graduated. Len thought that he absolutely did not want to go, knowing the special class was where the main characters of the game belonged, and that the Imperial Cadet Academy was a major setting in the legend of the 7 heroes. Enrolling there would bring his future closer to the game's timeline. He apologized and said he felt a sense of fulfillment in his daily life in the village. The knight turned to Len's father and asked if he did not want to make his son a noble. Len's father said that while he thought it would be good to send Len to the capital for education, ultimately it was Len's own will that mattered. He added that he had the pride of serving the Clausel family for generations, and would write a response for the Viscount. The knight said it was most unfortunate. The envoy left, and a few days later, Lycia returned under different circumstances. Len welcomed her 3rd visit. Lycia had fallen ill. Her escort apologized and explained that the young lady had gotten sick about 3 days ago, near another village they had planned to visit. It was a peculiar illness that only affected children with a high level of magical power. It did not spread to others, and once contracted, the person developed immunity. However, if the patient experienced a high fever and their immune system weakened, there was a risk of fatal complications. She needed to rest for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Len told them not to worry and to take their time. 3 days later, Lycia's condition finally stabilized. The retainer told Licia that Len was there, and he entered the room. He noticed her cheeks were still red. Licia apologized, saying she was sorry. Len told her it was not her fault at all, and asked her to raise her head. Licia said that she had come to the village on her own, and now she had fallen ill right after arriving, and on top of that, they had ended up having to take care of her. Len told her he did not mind. Licia explained that the journey was also meant for them to show Viscount Givens their determination by visiting more villages than usual. She, the Saintess, wanted to demonstrate that Clausel was united by her presence. Even if her influence was limited, she wanted to do that. Yet she felt so frustrated with herself. She said that she could not beat Len even once in sparring, that she could not do anything in the end, and that at this age she was already thinking about her position and responsibilities. She called herself nothing but an annoying little brat. Licia then said that as it stood, she was only tarnishing her late mother's reputation. Len reacted with surprise at the mention of her mother. Licia told Len that her mother had been overjoyed when she learned that Licia was the Saintess of White. Her mother used to say that Licia would do great things, even on the day she passed away due to illness. Licia had only seen her mother's face in portraits and had never heard her voice. She said that the outfit she wore was the same one her mother wore when she was a child, and that every time she put it on and fought, she felt like she was being cheered on by her mother. Len said he had not known that it was a memento. Licia said she had wanted to meet everyone's expectations, but it had all turned out to be in vain. Len thought to himself that she was already contemplating her position and responsibilities at this age. He also thought that if anything, the one with secrets was him. Licia told Len that she had heard he declined the invitation to the Imperial Cadet Academy from Viscount Givens. She said that he and his father went to such lengths to pledge their loyalty to Clausel, and that she could not keep on acting like a spoiled child. She had already spoken to Vice about this. She was truly sorry for causing his family so much trouble, and she sincerely appreciated all the kindness they had shown her. Licia told Len that this would be the last time she came to the village. Len wondered if this was really the end, in the face of the Saintess's determination. In response to the Saintess's decision, Len stood before Licia in her room. Licia asked if she could borrow some ink, explaining that she needed to write a letter to her father, and that hers had run out on the way there. Len told her that, of course she could, and that the stationery was inside a box on his desk. He told her to feel free to use it. Licia looked surprised and asked if it was his desk. Len explained that the room she was in was actually his room, and that he had happened to be cleaning the guest room when she arrived. Licia said she saw, and remarked that it seemed she had caused him nothing but trouble. Len told her it was not like that at all. He then addressed her as young miss, and asked if she could perhaps bring a fire-lighting magic tool the next time she came. Licia looked confused and asked what he meant. Len said he was referring to when she visited again, and that he thought having a fire-lighting tool at the Doma would be convenient. Licia was shocked and stammered that she had told him this was her last time visiting. She pointed out that he had been avoiding her and their spars. Len tried to explain himself, saying, well, the thing was, if someone suddenly asked you to spar with them, anyone would be confused. He asked if she did not agree. He told her that if she could give him a heads up in advance from then on, it would be fine, and that he could spar with her as long as they were within the village. He added that he would not want her condition to worsen, and that he would be taking his leave. He told her to have a proper conversation once she was feeling better. Len left the room and shut the door behind him. He muttered to himself, asking what he was even saying. Licia sat on the bed and wondered if he was telling the truth, and if she was really welcome to return. She noticed that somehow her headache was going away. She decided to write a letter to her father while she still had some energy, and went over to Len's desk. She asked if the ink was inside the box. She opened it and found a piece of paper. She read it and saw that it praised someone's valor, bravery, and gallantry, and that the passion the writer felt now surpassed what they had felt before they met. An older man with a beard appeared and told the young lady that the paper looked like a love letter. Licia was stunned and stammered. She said she thought she had lost it and asked where he had even found it. She then realized the real problem, which was that the letter was in Len's room. That meant he had definitely read her letter. Licia groaned and insisted that the others were wrong, that it was not a love letter. She claimed she was simply overzealous when she wrote it, and that it was not like she had feelings for him or anything. She said he was just strong and had a really likable character, and that was all. The older man smiled. Licia cried out, asking why this had happened. She clutched the letter and wondered what the big deal was, asking herself why she was holding onto it like it was something precious. She told herself she should just throw it away. She then asked quietly whether Len would have preferred that she did not grow fond of him. She wondered what went through his mind after reading her letter. The next day, at Licia's request, Weiss and the others decided to help with the hunting and carpentry around the village. They said they felt obligated to help for all the hospitality they had received. Len thanked them. He told Len to help the others with the house repairs while he went to the forest with Weiss and his group. He said he would go visit Granny Rig for some medicine. Weiss asked where the materials for the repairs were. Len told him they were in the storage box by the suspension bridge. The young lady was slowly recovering, and everyone was convinced that another week was all she needed to get better. Should things go as planned, they could journey back to Klausel. It started raining. There was fog as well. Len and one of the knights were hauling lumber on a cart and decided to take a short break. Len asked if the knight smelled something burning. The knight said he could not tell with the smell of the wet plants, but that it smelled like a field after a controlled burn. A young boy came running toward them, calling out for Len. Len realized the smell was coming from the direction of their house. The house was engulfed in flames. Len shouted that it was on fire. He rushed toward the burning building and found one of the knights collapsed on the ground. He checked on the fallen knight and saw that his neck had been bitten off. He questioned whether a monster had done this. He then remembered that Licia was still inside the room. Weiss kicked through the flames, trying to reach the house. Len coughed from the smoke. He saw that all the knights who had stayed behind to guard were dead. He wondered if the attackers had been anticipating this and had taken advantage of a momentary lapse. He rushed up the stairs through the burning house. A massive winged creature loomed over the building. It was a dragon-like monster with 2 heads. Len identified it as a mana eater, a formidable D-rank monster. The young lady was lying unconscious on the bed. Len burst through the fire, coughing, and shouted for her to get away. He told the creature to get away from her. A voice from the creature identified him as Len Ashton. The monster struck Len and sent him flying. Len wondered what was happening, saying his vision was distorted and that he could not muster any strength. He noticed a smell. He saw an incense burner and realized it was incense that was powerful enough to put even a dragon to sleep for several days. Len thought the situation was bad as his consciousness began to fade. Everything went dark. Len woke up on the floor of a moving cart. He asked where he was. He spotted Licia lying unconscious nearby and called out to her. He shook her and asked if she was all right, telling her it was him, Len Ashton. He was relieved that she was still breathing. A voice told him it was surprising that he was awake already, and that 4 days of sleep should have been enough. A hooded figure sitting at the front of the cart told them to behave themselves and they would not be harmed. He told them to just endure it for a few more days and not to go getting any fancy ideas. Len was shocked and asked how far from the village they had been taken in 4 days. The cart traveled through a mountainous landscape. Len thought about the situation. He wondered why the hooded figure had kidnapped them. He figured the man must be a beast tamer, someone who could summon and control monsters. He was even powerful enough to control 2 D-rank monsters. Len knew this was not an opponent he could fight recklessly. But the biggest issue was that Licia's condition was getting worse. She was breathing heavily. Len knew that if things went on any longer, her life would be in danger. He told himself he could not let her die there. He looked at Licia's face and vowed that he would definitely save her.